နေမှုအစဉ်တန်မြင့်လာတဲ့ပြောစရာကဲစရာတွေကင်းပြီးတော့ဖက်ဖက်ကတန်ရှင်းမှုကပိုအရေးကြီးပါလားတန်ရှင်းတယ်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ကိုယ်မှုနှုတ်တန်ရှင်းရဲ့လူပြီးသားတာပဲစိတ်နဲ့စိတ်ထားတွေတန်ရှင်းလို့ရှိရင်လူလိုစိတ်ထားတတ်တာဒီရမှာတစ်ဆင့်ဆက်ပြီးတော့အတိညာနေပါအစစ်စစ်ဆင်ဆင်ဖြစ်ပြီးတော့ရည်ကျက်ပြည့်စုံသွားမယ်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်လူတိညာရှိပြီးတော့လူထက်လူဖြစ်တာပါတခုခေတ်ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်တွေလူပိသားဖို့ရာလူလိုစိတ်ထားဖို့ရာနဲ့လူတိညာရှိပြီးတော့လူထက်လူဖြစ်ဖို့ရာပေါ်လေအခွင့်အရေးတွေအပြည့်ရှိနေပါလားအဲ့ဒီအခွင့်အရေးတွေရအောင်မလုပ်ကြလို့အခြေခံကိုကြီးတိကတွေပြည့်ပြီးတော့ကဘာမှာလူမပိသားသူတွေများသွားပါတယ်ဒီမှာလူလိုစိတ်ထားတဲ့သူတွေလူတိညာပဲ့ပြီးတော့ကျိုးရှိမရှိသိမတဲ့ဖြစ်နိုင်လို့လည်းအတိညာနေတုံးတော်တာတွေပဲဒါလည်းရှိနေပါတော့ဘဝလောကကြီးကဘဝလောကကြီးကမောင်ကျတော့ပါပြီမောင်နဲ့လှမ်းလျှောက်လို့ဖြစ်တော်ပါပြီဒီမှာအဲတော့အခုဒီမှာလာအထုတ်တဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်တွေဟာမောင်နဲ့နောက်မရောက်ရအောင်ဆိုပြီးတော့အလင်းထဲမှာခရီးသွားတယ်လို့ပေါ့လေရှောင်စရာတိုက်စရာခိုက်စရာတွေနားလည်ပြီးတော့ရှောင်တိတ်သွားတယ်လို့ရှိရင်ဘေးရတယ်လည်းကျင်းတော့မှာပါပဲဒီအခွင့်အရေးတွေအပြည့်စုံရသွားနိုင်ပါလား
Yesterday, Sayadawgyi spoke about how if we're a human being, better than being high class in terms of the world, it's more important to have purity of physical, verbal, and mental behavior. If our actions and our speech are pure, then we are a true human being. And if our mind is also pure, then we have a humane attitude. Our mentality is humane. And from here, if one develops knowledge stage by stage until it reaches maturity, one becomes a person who possesses special human knowledge. And people have full opportunity to gain this. We all have the opportunity to gain this. But in the world, most people lack purity of conduct. They lack the basic sila, and thus they are not able to develop a clean, pure mind or special knowledge. So most people in the world are not truly human. Their hearts and minds are inhumane, and they lack special human knowledge, the understanding of what is beneficial to do and what is not beneficial, what is suitable to do and what is not suitable. This knowledge is very much stunted, very weak in the world. And thus the world is in darkness. People are just walking around in the dark. But people have come here to get out of walking in the darkness and walk in the light by avoiding doing things which shouldn't be done, by undertaking what should be done. And all of us have this opportunity to we all have this opportunity equally.
မ Malega Sila Sulu Patabido to sit there. Yogi Pokuha Metta le Poyame Karuna le Poyame Mikara Karuna Kuposa Lucia Mudita Sara Leve Poya Bama Keto Metta Bhavana Pavare Eri Metta Dua Sampia Boare Nina Yo Metta Saboli Pipua on body singing of Diana Boera Nina Nishibara Very Nidera Metta Zampao Metta Zapia Boare near the Mapio Muluo Papil Resora Vipida Vipassana Bhavana Tiaga Tua Vipassana Bhavana Chiniro, Dugu Uzabelu people. Vipassana Bhavana Uwe, Vipida Bhavana Uwe, Uzabi Hoyabare. Tavalu Makizagone and Nero Gulu Diashimate Poku Ha Vitaro Poya Suravoli Kutu Pie. Under the king, Pavum Lido, Edalino Piopia Vare.
Yesterday, in talking about purity of conduct or Sila Visuddhi, in addition to this, yogis have to develop metta and karuna, that is loving kindness and compassion. And with metta and karuna, loving kindness and compassion together, then it won't be hard to develop sympathetic joy or mudita. Metta is a type of bhavana or meditation, and there are two ways to develop metta. One is as an absorption, as a jhanic practice, and the other is as a way of developing ordinary consciousness. The method of developing metta or loving kindness as an absorption, as a jhanic practice, is not something that we need to go into here, because this is a Vipassana retreat, and we have to give priority to speaking about Vipassana meditation. However, one can't not speak about metta, so Sayadawgyi will describe it in terms of a practice for developing the wholesome mind and as a protection.
Vipassana Bhavana Atulira Vipassana Bhavana Atulira Soro Atul say Kala Mavoli Anopseti Kimiro Sanyan Tata Neboli Lulane Taya Atulne or Yangam Yama Piazzo Tower Sabataka Kamatana Niyatana Raima Lode Kamatan Bodhidama Dine Tribta Bhavana Dia Atude Boguri Adi Sabataka Kamatan Puavo Lady what to show you to Pioba Karela Pio Nijaba Karen Pio Lukale Pio Rava Papiro Resoro Yogi Atiti Ale Yauda through Atiti Tia Logo Atabuda Poco Leve Tama Bida Tiaro Pobiro Nale Shine of Body now not delay Sabataka Kamatan Pioba.
Yogis are now practicing Vipassana Bhavana, Vipassana meditation, and so that we can be free of disturbances and practice freely during this period of doing Vipassana Bhavana. In the text, there's a type of meditation, there's meditation that is needed everywhere, Sabataka Kamatana. It is a meditation that is required everywhere. And Sayadawgyi has spoken about this in previous years. He will speak about it today in brief. Although he's spoken about it before, he will speak about it again because there are new yogis here and they can learn about it for the first time. And old yogis are here. They will be able to understand it better if they hear it again.
Any label suragaro, te Buddha nusati, ne Metta Bhavana, tong Asuba Bhavana ne le Maranasati, te Jitiyago Sinyana, any label of it.
These four kinds of meditation that are needed everywhere are, first of all, Buddhanusati, recollection of the Buddha, Metta Bhavana, or practice of loving kindness, Asuba Bhavana, and Maranasati, reflection on the fact of death. These are the four types of meditation.
Buddha Piago, Kaya Gono, the Kugu Valley, and those it is Pamantata, the Ria of Mayara. Kuna Dila Saudi Dema Namo Tatabagawado, Erhado, Samasamuda Zazra. David Dilushi, Eddie Nabo Bear, Long Long Never. Does it at Hango Nove Luri Halo Muhari, Ajiviro Nipapi Meluneso Sharo Tiari Atude Kama, Lower the Muhari, and with it of Jam Shindana. But to the ship Matimu Moha, Tovu Moha. Alwari Shosho did it more. A paganema Padova. Did I came over to Miss Sophia? Easier in Manmia. Caesar Signalero She Tira, Curantira Mamacantira Curantira with the Buddha cover. Mamacantira with the Mabuddha cover. Pausa later got Dhamma easier in front of me. Kure Mama Granti to Tikuno Nabaha. Take a yichi, whatever. Very Kuno Nabaha. How we are what is near what, eh? I will Pogo Yea. Congo, I hope you are Anna Pogo de Jaro. The Goa of Piago, Chajanana, Miyuki Pogo de Jaro. The Yae Congo left. I hope you Yabare. Edit Yae Congo, Pogo Jaro, Sepido Piogame.
Among these four kinds of meditation, the first, Buddhanusati, is repeated recollection of the qualities of the Buddha. When we recite Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa, if we know the meaning of this is enough of a recollection because arahato refers to the quality of arahang, purity. Humans may be completely dirty, but the Buddha practiced and he eliminated all mental defilements completely. He was completely pure. And in particular, he eliminated ignorance or moha. Moha, which knows in the wrong way or doesn't know at all. He dispelled this. And therefore, whatever he turned his attention to, he could know that. Whatever there was to be known, he had the capability to know it. So he knew completely, and he knew by himself, and he knew correctly. So knowing by himself means sambuddha, and sammabuddha means to know correctly. So when we recite Samma Sambuddha, we are referring to the quality of the Buddha, that he knew all there is to be known by himself correctly. These two qualities of Arahang and Samma Sambuddha are very important, and we must reflect on these. But some people don't have faith in individuals. Some people don't have a background of having faith in the Buddha. They didn't have faith in the Buddha to begin with. And for people who find it hard to have faith in a person or in the Buddha, we can reflect on the qualities of the Dhamma. And Sayadawgyi will continue to speak about this.
So what I own the Barile, Tisha Boda, Davoli, Madari, Peter Pada, Erica Jalusi, Chaulan Namasibu, Tetimun Taramasibu, Era Loye Cuba, Vedama, Diajima de Pogo, Buddha no Day Bhavana. Pogo Yea, Kuemu, Ane Pogo Yaro. Tomo, Day Jolusi, no Fiago, no Mopolo de Pogo Yaro, Tayaya Kono, Pornamare, Taya Yunjilu, Labia, Atuja de Pogo River, Taya Kono, Chapaya, Patmazum Kono, Yunjilu, Taya to go anywhere. Patmazum Kono, Swakato, Bogawata, Tamore. Tamosra Chili Manetu Chitone Boko, Autamajaya Olo, Saumat Hare the Bore, Era Dhamma Korala, Chili Manetiame, Chili Mataji, Autamajao Nilama, Tibiro Nilama Tajilosi. Yashi de Ajo Chitona Yashi de Ajo Boli, Quinja, Sofia Hotara Numatila Solution Tahu Shawame, Sofia Mijatara Shejao Sibia Shawame, Sanaze Sibia Shawame Mishawna, a cheap get of it, Niala go to the ticket of it. Joe Soyo who said all of it. So Shejao Silver Pipse, Sanaze Silver Pipse. Shall I need you, shall I be Solosia? Go on, never go who begin that shin wire. သူတစ်ပါးလည်းပဲကိုယ့်အတွက်နဲ့ဘာမှထိခိုက်ခြင်းမရှိဘူးရှောင်ကျဉ်မှုကောင်းတဲ့အလေးရဲ့အဲ့ဒီဓမ္မလေးကိုယ်မှာရှိသွားတယ်နဲ့ပဲကိုယ်မှာလည်းအပြည့်ကင်းသူတစ်ပါးလည်းမထိခိုက်တဲ့ရှောင်ကျဉ်မှုကျင့်ဝတ်နဲ့အကျိုးရလာတခါလေးခွင့်ကြဟောထားတာအဲ့ဒါကိုသောကတာခေါ်တာပဲထို့တူပဲတမှုခေါ်မှုကာမတောင်းကြမှုလိမ်မှုဝိရဆိုတာတောက်ရှိမှုတွေဒါတွေမတရားတဲ့မှုတွေပဲလို့သိပြီးတော့မစင်လို့ရောမိခဲလို့ညွတ်ပြီးတော့ရှောင်လို့ရှိရင်ကိုယ်မှာကိုယ်မှုနှောက်မှုတွေပြောစရာကိစ္စအဖြစ်ဒီခင်းလို့တတ်ရှင်းတော့လည်းငဲ့ရတော့တာသူတစ်ပါးကိုလည်းမထိခဲ့အောင်ကာဝယ်ဆောက်ရှောက်ပြီးတော့ဖြစ်သွားတယ်သာနာစိတ်နဲ့ရှောင်လို့ရှိရင်လည်းသူတစ်ပါးလည်းကိုယ်အတွက်နဲ့မထိခဲ့ကာဝယ်ဆောက်ရှောက်ပြီးတော့ဖြစ်သွားတယ်ကိုယ်လည်းမှားရအောင်ထိန်ပြီးတော့ဖြစ်သွားတယ်ရှောက်တိုင်းနဲ့ဤတိလို့အဲ့ဒီဤတိုင်းကျင့်သုံးလို့ရှိရင်ကျင့်သုံးမှုနဲ့အကျိုးခွင့်ကြတဲ့ဟောထားတာအဲ့တော့သဝဂတကိုကြီးပါပဲတော့ဒါတိကလည်းဆက်ပြီးတော့သဝဂတဖြစ်ပေါ်မှာ
In the text, there are many methods described of reflecting on the qualities of the Buddha. And there are many descriptions also of the benefits that are gained by recollecting the qualities of the Buddha. But for starting yogis, what is important is to be free of disturbance as they walk along the path. To be able to be free of danger. And also, as we practice, frightening things can appear in our minds. And the result of doing recollection of the Buddha's special qualities, is that we are free of danger because of it, and we also don't experience fear when frightening things arise in the mind. For people who don't have faith in individuals, or to say it another way, for people who don't want to do this type of recollection on the Buddha, we can reflect on the qualities of the Dhamma. And there are 6 special qualities of the Dhamma. If we only reflect on the first one, that's enough. And that first quality is described as Svakato Bhagavata Dhammo. The Dhamma that the Buddha taught is well preached. Svakata. It means that the practice, this correct practice, elevates, lifts up and bears the person who practices according to the method. So one has to know the method of practice, and knowing this correct method, if we practice it, the results are consistent with the practice. An example of this is how sila, the practice of sila, is consistent with the results that come from it. If we avoid killing, we keep sila and we avoid killing, whether it's because of shame and fear, hiri ottappa, regarding doing this act, or whether it's because of having sympathy, an understanding for how other people feel. If we don't avoid killing, then other people are harmed, and our action also is wrong. But if we avoid killing, then our actions are pure, and others don't become harmed, aren't harmed because of us. So, because we have this Dhamma of sila, because we practice sila, we are not we are not in the wrong and our actions are pure. And also with, as far as the other actions, stealing, lying, committing adultery and other acts of sexual misconduct. If we avoid these things the way we would avoid picking up feces, or the way we would avoid picking up something that is hot, iron, we keep ourselves clean and we don't come to harm. Others too are not harmed. So with this, we don't incur any bad results because of restraining ourselves. We can control ourselves. The practice, we restrain ourselves physically and we gain physical purity. Our actions become pure. And this is how sila is svakata, or well preached. Its results are consistent with what we practice.
Metta Bhavana Mahokevene Siyino Metta Deya, Siyino Karuna Deya, Eda Leya Vedro, Chushi Nida. Teji Tatwari Poma, Gongza Chanda Zine Sikh Lady Body. Siyino Metta Lady Talushian. Tare Kaitama, Mundi de Dodari Kenida, La Sigrita Shinida. Hello, Secretary, Agona Lucian, Dikanina, Kononaina, Kujusuna, Nina Kanina. Daria Nogani Pala, Gina Tanada, Taripela. Simone Meta Shilusi, Mundi de Doda Kendalo. Gina Tanada say Fankalusi, yesterday Doda Kendoda. The Mita Tare, Gina Tanada. Mundi de Doda, yesterday Doda came out. Secretary Tansindora. Say Tada Tagatama. Let me body. Say Tada Tea, Mundi de Doda, yesterday Doda came out. Juyala. Chichin Karaya Dora. Era Swagata Korave. Simone Metta Karuna, she can have a go ha. To Yakonzara Nalure Manalura Mishivu, Kulove Chanda Sejene, Undura Mishivu Machina look Manalure the war, Undure the war. Here they came with a take up Piolo, Winter, Mudita Kineda. Here you Metta Karuna Shikanave. Polo Yada Metta, Polo Yada Karuna Chikame, so you know, 2 years of Sivurama. And I say Tata to Metta Suratavo. Tito Metta Karuna Mudita, Tiari Shidoshi, Guna, Mundi de Doda, yesterday Doda, Manalure, Undure, Erari Kendora. You know, Sitane. Sitane, Joyala, Karakunja, Hota.
Not doing metta as an actual absorption practice, but just ordinary consideration, reflection on loving kindness is very beneficial. Metta is wanting others to be happy, wanting others to be well. And when we can hold this attitude in our mind, then anger doesn't arise. This attitude, just holding this attitude in our mind, can dispel anger. When we can have an attitude of wanting others to be well, then we can be patient with others. We can forgive when we're harmed. We can give up our own individual benefit, and we can make sacrifices for the whole, for our group. And further, it's easy to have a feeling, an understanding of how other people feel, have a sympathetic or compassionate feeling for others. When one has true metta, the wish for others' welfare, then one becomes free of the type of dosa that hates. And when one is free of, when one has this true sympathetic feeling, true feeling of compassion for others, then one becomes free of the cruel form of anger. Because one holds this mental attitude of loving kindness and compassion, metta and karuna, the mind becomes free of anger. So by what we do mentally, by developing this attitude in our mind of metta, we gain mental purity. So in this way the result and the practice itself are consistent. So a person who has the wish for others' welfare and doesn't want them to suffer, when they see others having good circumstances, they won't feel jealous and they won't feel miserliness or envy. So when the mind becomes free of these attitudes, not just anger, but free of envy and jealousy and miserliness, then the mind is happy. And it's very easy to be happy about others' good circumstances, which is mudita. So all these mental qualities come about because of the type of attitude that we try to develop. And, sorry. So by developing metta and karuna, we become free of hateful dosa, hatred. We become free of cruelty. We become free of envy and jealousy. And thus, by developing the mental attitude of metta and of karuna, we gain wholesome mental attitudes. We gain mental purity. So this is how the practice of just developing loving kindness in an ordinary way, the results are consistent with the practice.
သူများနှိမ့်ဆက်ခြင်းလားဒုက္ခပင်ခြင်းလားပြဘာဟုတ်တယ်လည်းမရှိတော့စိတ်ရဲ့ဥတည်ချက်ကဒီမှာပဲပေါ်တဲ့အာရုံမှာပဲရှိနေတယ်ဆိုတော့အဲ့ဒါလည်းကျင်းနေတာပဲဒီတော့ကိုယ်ကြจิตသုံးမှုနဲ့လည်းကြီးအကျိုးရလာဖို့တည်းမှာမြတ်စွာဘုရားဟောထားတယ်အဲ့ဒါသောကာသခေါ်တာပဲဒီလိုပြောစရာသောကာသတွေအများကြီးပါပဲဒီတရားတော်ရဲ့သောကာသခုံကိုယုံကြည်ဖို့ပါပဲဘုရားကိုမယုံကြည်နိုင်တဲ့ထားပါအခုလောလောဆယ်မိမိတို့အားထုတ်နေရတဲ့တရားရဲ့ကိုယ်ကြီးကိုယုံကြည်ကျင့်တတ်เสียဖြစ်ပါပြီအဲ့ဒါလို့ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ဒီပုဂ္ဂိုလ်ဟာဆက်ပြီးတော့အားထုတ်နိုင်တော့အောင်တတ္တတရားပြည့်စုံပြီလို့ဒီလိုဆိုရမှာပါပဲ
For people who know the qualities, the virtues of the practice of Satipatthana, whether a little bit or a lot, in one moment of observation, the kilesas, the mental defilements, which would have the opportunity to arise, are not able to do so. Starting with the rising and the falling of the abdomen, the yogi tries to observe every object that arises without missing, applying effort. And this effort is called virya. When virya is present, this ardent effort, then laziness doesn't have the chance to enter the mind. Virya, or ardent effort, takes its place. From there, one is able to firmly observe the rising and the falling. The mind sticks with it. The mind becomes well established on the object, and the mind is secure. Unwholesome mental factors can't come in. Sati arises, and the mind has no restlessness, no scatteredness, no remorse. Every person who develops the factors of effort, virya, sati, mindfulness, and concentration, samadhi, for every person who develops these, this is what happens. This is the result. And when the factor of vitakka, or aiming, is present, then the mind doesn't go to thoughts of sense pleasures. There's no kama chanda, no sense desire arising. There's no thoughts of ill will towards others, vyabhada. And the mind's objective is just to be on the arising object, and that's what's happening. That's what happens. So this, in this way, when we practice the Dhamma, the practice and its result are consistent. And this is how the Dhamma is well preached, or svakata. The results match the practice that we do. So one simply has to have confidence in this quality of the Dhamma, of being well preached, svakata. Leave aside faith in the Buddha. Simply have faith in this quality of the Dhamma. And if a person with this trust and confidence in svakata, the Dhamma which is well preached, if one continues to practice, their faith will become complete.
ဒုတိယကတော့မေတ္တာဘာဝနာပါပဲမေတ္တာဆိုတာကဒုတိယပုံမှာပဲဖြစ်ဖြစ်အများပုံမှာပဲဖြစ်ဖြစ်တတ္တဝါတွေပုံမှာစိတ်ထားကလေးပေါ်လေစိုးစိုးပြေပြေဖြစ်နေတာမကြည်နဲ့လို့ဒေါသတွေဖြစ်ပြီးတော့မေတ္တာ6ခန်းတဲ့သဘောရှိကမှု6ခန်းတဲ့သဘောမဟုတ်ဘူးစိုးစိုးပြေဖြစ်နေတဲ့သဘောလေးအဲ့ဒါမေတ္တာလို့ခေါ်ပါတယ် အဲဒီမေတ္တာစိတ်ထားပါလားမေတ္တာစိတ်ထားဖို့လည်းကျမ်းဂန်ကြီးတော့ပြပါလားရန်ညှိုးကင်းပါစေရန်ငိမ့်ပေးကင်းပါစေဆိုတော့ရန်ငိမ့်ဆိုတာအတွင်းကသူ့မှာရှိတဲ့ရာဂဒေါသမောဟတွေအကုသိုလ်ရန်တွေငြိမ့်ပါစေဒီလိုဆိုပါတယ်ရမငြိမ့်ရင်ကျွလူမှုတွေရှိပြီးတော့ကိုမကျင့်ဘူးအတ္တနိဝရဒဘယပိယကြီးသူတော်ကိုနိခေယခံတဲ့ပရာနိဝရဒဘယဒန္တဘယဥပဒေနဲ့မြင်ညွတ်တဲ့ဟာတွေချိုးပေါက်လို့ရှိရင်ဥပဒေနဲ့အရေးခံရတာဒန္တဘယဒုက္ခတိဘယဆိုတာပေါ့လေမကောင်းမှုပြုထားတဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်ဟာသူ့ဘဝဟာနောက်မကောင်းတဲ့ဘဝတွေရောက်ဖို့သိကြနေတာပဲမတရားပြုထားလို့ရှိရင်အဲ့ဒီစိတ်ဒုက္ခတဘယဆိုတာပေါ့လေစိတ်ရဲ့ထိတ်လိုက်ကြောက်ရွံ့ခြင်းတွေဖြစ်နေတာပဲသီလပြည့်စုံပြီဆိုလို့ရှိရင်မေတ္တာထားပြီဆိုလို့ရှိရင်တော့အဲ့ဒီဘုရားတွေကင်းနေတာပဲမေတ္တာအားကောင်းလေလေခေါင်းစိတ်ဒုက္ခသဘုရားတွေကင်းလေလေပဲဒီမှာဟာပါပဲအဲ့ဒါလိုမေတ္တာပို့ရပါတယ်
The second type of meditation is Metta Bhavana. So metta is the attitude of, whether it's towards one person or being or many, of wanting, it's a fresh, moist attitude that wants them to be well. It's not brittle the way anger is. Anger is a brittle, dried state of mind. The attitude of metta is fresh and moist, and we have to have this attitude. So in the texts, one uses the phrase, may they be free of enemies. But here, what we mean is the enemy of unwholesomeness, the akusala enemy that is within us. If this enemy is not subdued, then one will do wrong. And when we commit misdeeds, what follows is the danger of self-blame. We blame ourselves when we do things that are wrong. Further, we get criticized and blamed by others, paranuwara bhaya, especially by the wise. Further, if we break the law in giving into our akusala, then we suffer from danda bhaya, or the danger of punishment. And fourth, we have the danger of going to a low existence, dugati bhaya. One who commits misdeeds is sure to reach a bad existence. And further, there is the type of frightened mind, chittotrasa bhaya, that arises for people who commit a wrongdoing. But if we have an attitude of metta, then one will be free of these dangers to the extent that we have an attitude of wanting others to be well and happy. To that extent, we will be free of this fear that arises in the mind because of having done wrong, chittotrasa bhaya. ချစ်ဆိုလို့သမီးစားချင်းချစ်တာလင်မယားချင်းချစ်တာမျိုးဒီလိုတော့မဟုတ်ပါဘူးအဲဒါကတော့တမတ်တဲ့ຢာကပါပါတယ်သူ့ကိုကြရစိတပေမလို့ခေါ်ပါတယ်မိသားစုအချင်းချင်းချစ်တာတဲ့သို့သောအမြဲတမ်းလည်းပဲရာဂပါတော့မရှိပါဘူးတခါတခါလည်းပဲတန်ရှင်းတဲ့ချစ်ကြည်မှုလေးတွေမိသားစုအချင်းချင်းလည်းဖြစ်တတ်ပါတယ်များသောအားဖြင့်တော့ရာဂจิตတွေများပါတယ်အခုပြောခဲ့တဲ့အချစ်ကတော့မေတ္တာကတော့တန်ရှင်းတာသူများချမ်းသာစေခြင်းနဲ့ချမ်းသာစေခြင်းတော့ဘာလဲဟောတာဟာအဲ့လိုအချစ်မျိုးပါပဲပထမဆုံးကိုယ်မှာကိုယ်ရင်းစားတရားမွေးရတယ်
ကိုချမ်းသာခြင်းတို့ကိုရံကင်းခြင်းတို့သူတို့ရဲ့အတွင်းရကိလေသာရံနဲ့အတွင်းရံနဲ့တိတ်ကြောက်ဆဲကောင်းတာပုဂ္ဂိုလ်ရံဆိုတာတခါတည်းမှကြုံရတော့ပဲအတွင်းရံနဲ့ကျင်းကြပါစေဆိုတာပေါ့လေကျွလွန်စော်ကားတဲ့အကုသိုလ်တွေကင်းပါစေလို့ဒီလိုဆိုလိုတာပါပဲကျွလွန်စော်ကားတဲ့ကိလေသာတွေကင်းတယ်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်အတ္တနိဝရဘုရားဆိုတာအလိုလိုကင်းပြီးတော့ကမ္ဘာလောကကြီးဘယ်လိုချမ်းသာမလဲကြည့်ပေါ့ဒီတော့အဲ့ဒါလိုပို့တတ်တဲ့ပုဂ္ဂိုလ်ဟာစိတ်ချမ်းသာလည်းရလာမယ်ကိုယ်ချမ်းသာလည်းရလာမယ်အဲ့ဒီအကျိုးတွေချက်ချင်းလိုနေတဲ့ချမ်းသာကတော့အခုစာရေးတော်ရေးနေထိုင်ရေးမှာပေါ့လေတက်တောင့်တက်တာလေးဖြစ်ဖို့ပဲဒါပဲရှိတယ်ဒုက္ခိအတ္တနာပရိဟာရံတုဆိုတော့ပေါ့လေပရိဟာရမိတက်တောင့်တက်တာလေးခန္ဓာကိုယ်ဆွဲနေပါစေဆိုတော့ပေါ့လေဒါပဲရှိတော့တယ်အတွင်းရကင်းတော့လို့ရှိရင်စိတ်ချမ်းသာမှုနဲ့ကိုယ်ချမ်းသာမှုအလိုလိုရပြီးတော့သွားတော့တာပဲအစစ်မှန်တဲ့မေတ္တာပို့တတ်ဖို့သိအရေးကြီးပါလေ
Metta is not the love that happens between sweethearts or husband and wife. It's that type of love is basically raga or lust. It's also called gehasita pema. It's the love that exists between family members. And sometimes this love is pure. Sometimes this love is free of lust. But mostly it's based on raga or lust. Metta is a type of friendly, loving attitude of wanting others to be well. And we develop this attitude by using ourself as by first of all thinking of how we want to be happy. Just as I want to be happy, just as I want to be free of danger, especially to be free of the internal enemy, external enemies that come in the form of another person or another being, these are very rare in life. Just as I want to be free of these internal enemies, just as I want to be free of transgressive kilesas, so too may they be free of these transgressive kilesas. If we could develop this type of attitude, just think of how peaceful the world would be. A person who has this type of attitude towards others, wanting their welfare, wanting them to be free of the internal dangers, such a one will surely get physical and mental ease, well-being. In addition to this, all one needs is to be able to take care of oneself easily. And therefore it's said in the text, Sukhi Attanang Pariharantu. These are all expressions of metta, to be free of the internal enemy, to be free of mental suffering, physical distress, and to be able to carry out one's life easily and comfortably. So if one has the attitude of wanting others to be free of these internal enemies, one will automatically get physical and mental peace, well-being. It's very important to develop true metta.
မိမိကိုယ်တိုင်ကအခုပြောခဲ့တဲ့ဟာတွေလူလားသလိုအလုံးသိရှိတတ်တော်တွေလူသားတွေရောလူတွေနဲ့တရောတိရစ္ဆာန်တွေရောအကုန်လုံးတတ်တော်တွေဒီလိုကြီးပဲဆိုတာပေါ့လေအဲ့လိုကိုကြီးစာတရားနဲ့မေတ္တာပို့ရပါတယ်မေတ္တာပို့လို့ရရှိနိုင်တဲ့အကျိုးတွေထဲမှာဆိုလို့ရှိရင်အာထုပ်စေယောဂီမှာချမ်းသာသာအိယာတတ်တယ်ချမ်းသာသာနိုးတယ်အိမ်မက်ဆိုးတယ်လည်းမမက်ဘူးအစိတ်ရှိတဲ့တတ္တဝါတွေလည်းပဲမထိခိုက်ဘူး Just
as one wants these good things for oneself, so too all humans, devas, animals, they also want to have a happy life. And when we develop this attitude towards others, the benefits are, for the yogi who is practicing, that they fall asleep easily. They wake up easily, peacefully, and they don't have bad dreams. Poisonous animals, beings won't harm them. There are many, many benefits that are described in the text, but it's not possible to describe all of them here. However, one should not expect the benefits of metta. One should simply understand that these are the benefits, and one should have faith, trust, confidence that these benefits do come with the practice of metta. Only if one develops metta in this way will it be effective.
Asuba Bhavana. Asuba Suraga Mimi Khana Koji Madrizia Pia Moli Sinia Utunia to Inga Sebania Shin the Kujima Chichi, Ponsa Viro Chichi, Kuku Roko, Neteta. Dale to Kuji Kuja, Samentable, Winnable, Chiddle, Toadable Molly, a yearable Molly, every day. Quebro Pomiro Chichi, Babalo Nimela. A Paula in the Roma Chilo Sieno, Taya Zalo Temabido, Coco Tinchime, Tamame, Lova Fema. Say that it is quite a resolution, deep only blue of Yanomana. But Ruma Yamno, the Koma Shia Pony, Mindare, Alego, some emotion children at the Toa Ye, Italy Ponchiva, Ponchino, Madrizia Tena. The detail, did they love a little Lucia? Tayatama keep him mellow. Ponchilo, Tayatama Shiro Busoluciano, and a Mimikana go on a Kutata Pavana one. Asuba Bhavana, Puadakisa, easy barrier. You will look what are they at wet. I told you the Maribali Shila is Lucian. Lala Papa, Nemeti, Tentapaya, Emes Sansavoli. Muda Soluci, Lala Papa. Mutubi Ionet Tiatapare. Mutubi Solution, Sanjame, Muda Ionet Tiatapare. Sanjame Iola Valley, Tubi Solution, City at the Mupitapare. Jubilo, the Asuba Bhavana, Port Halucia, Kona, Tayazia Tulucia, Tayamudi, Mupipene, Maclady, will say, Come that apare. The Gelo Kitama, Gelo Joga, Taja Asuba Bhavana, Leve, Poyavare.
The third type of meditation is Asuba Bhavana. And this is the reflecting so as to see one's body as foul and disgusting. When everything is in place, we look at ourselves, we like what we see. When everything is in its place, everything is together. But if we were to just separate out all the different parts, put all the hair in one pile, put all the body hair in a pile, put the nails in a pile, put our teeth in a pile, put our skin in a pile, all of these parts, hair of the head, hair of the body, nails, teeth, and skin, just as separate units. Looking at that, how would we feel? When they're all together, when we look at ourselves, our own body, as a whole, we like it, we take pride in it, and we have greed and lust. But if we divide things up into parts, no one will cherish this, a pile of hair, a pile of body hair, nails, teeth, and skin. So if we can look at our body as these separate parts so that the disgusting aspect of it becomes apparent, then we've accomplished this type of bhavana called Asuba Bhavana or Kotasa Bhavana. And we do this in advance because when the concentration starts to develop, sometimes very beautiful things can appear in our mind, like a dream. So it can happen that for a man, there may be very beautiful women that appear in his mind. For a woman, there may be very handsome men that appear in the mind. This type of thing can arise, very attractive sights. And when we do Asuba Bhavana in advance, then when we encounter these types of attractive objects, we're just able to note them. Lust doesn't arise, liking doesn't arise. Or, if it does, we're able to overcome it quickly. So therefore, we need to practice this Asuba Bhavana.
Now, so we just Marana Sati, teaching the Vogo, Sierra, Puayo, Pila, Visuluchi, the Telomina, Wu, Tirave, Nayuanet Tirave, Jari Yoga, Yabilo Tirave, the Kugu and the Yuki Chibiro Tirale. Now, so Utiara, Buduma Niluyabu, Pigidia Cinema. Now, level what he say, I was looking a second only people and create a palace or a Sinza Theatre, so I could not take that to Malo. Tachio needed what I lazy without Tachio near. Lomopala, so I body. Now, but Jagging Tialima. The Yidia to Ramiere, but the vegetation is the Manievu. Material Lima, Tandia Kiaka to a Nama, Yiji no Bales or Congo Kinale, Vido, a chain me. Kudu Yekari, Pivi Sozo, Kita nearby. To the Gulu Tiare, Atu Tayabare, Tate Yichizuma, Era Tijidia Siniara. Tiro, Buddha Notati, Domo Damanotati, Metta Bhavana, Asuba Bhavana, Maranatati, Teatro de Pogurima, Niatayama, Luata Mulu, Tabatuka Kamatano covered. Adeka Bhavana recovered to what Kuzontia Liva, Ulutia to the Poguria, Edilio Poera, Poire Nilia, Guago, Poleya, the Muma, Temanilo Poy, Lolopade, Aluboluchi, nominate the Tabatuka Kamata, Pito, Poja Body, Tinero, Tanebe, Sunda Jabazo, Paduka Kamatani Pavilo, Andre Adriya Piani Kibiro, Chanatani, Atunay Najapa Zero, Donda Yenebori, Nitia Santaleba.
The last type of meditation is called Maranasati, reflection on the fact of death. When we have a life, well, we can't stay in this life. We'll die. Some people die young. Some people die after having a disease. Some people die quickly because of some sudden danger that arose. And some people get old and die. Whatever it is, we're sure to die. So we need to reflect on this fact of death, that it is sure to come. And when we die, as long as the causes are there, there will be a new life. So what is it that we can take with us on this journey that is ahead of us? All that we can take is this method of purifying our actions, our speech, and our mind. Death is sure to come. It's inevitable. It's unknown when it will come, but it is sure to come. And what is the most important thing for the journey that we take through samsara? So understanding that death is certain, and that what we have to take to support us throughout samsara is our good deeds. Someone who understands this will do a lot of good deeds, especially one will practice meditation. So these 4 types of meditation, the recollection of the qualities of the Buddha or of the Dhamma, Buddha Nusati, Dhamma Nusati, Metta Bhavana, the reflection of loving kindness, Asuba Bhavana, recollection of the foul qualities of the body, and Maranasati, recollection of the fact of death. These are called Sabatuka Bhavana, or also Areka Bhavana, the 4 types of guardian meditations. And these are practices that we can do according to these instructions on our own. We should take, before a sitting, we should take 1 minute for each of these, total of about 5. So we can do this. We can do this once a day. Or Sayadawgyi didn't say how many times a day to do it, but in the past I've heard that it can be done once or twice. One time. So 5 minutes, 1 time a day. These 4 meditations, total 5 minutes. So for today, this is all, and Sayadawgyi hopes that by practicing these 4 types of guardian meditations, you'll be able to quell the enemy within and be able to practice free of danger and reach your goal. That's all for today.